Welcome along to the Stumble Across podcast. This is the podcast where I basically stumble across people online and invite them on for a chat, usually knowing very little about them. So completely unprepared, completely unfiltered, leading to some of the best stories. Now, in today's episode, I stumble across Sarah. Sarah's profile popped up on my Instagram feed, and the way it suggests accounts that you should be following. No idea why this came up for me, but she is a bit of a Guinness guru. So Girl Drinks Guinness is her profile, and she has nearly 23,000 followers on Instagram watching her review Guinness one pub at a time. So of course, I had to speak to her to find out what makes the perfect pint in her eyes.
My name is Sarah. I am from Glasgow. For those of you who don't know what that is, but it's over in Scotland. I review Guinness for Instagram. It's just something I do as a hobby. I'm quite ruthless, maybe too ruthless at times, but I enjoy it. It's a bit of fun.
Guinness is one of those things. It can be so different everywhere you go, can't it? It's like
Absolutely.
It's so weird how it can.
Absolutely. They just need to have all the things I like, and it's hard to find that.
Let's say you're going out and you're reviewing places, right? Were you in Northern Ireland recently? Did I see in your Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I was in Belfast at New Year. Yeah.
So you go into a place. What is it, right? Let's just get down to it. What is it that you look for in a Guinness then? What things should we be looking for? We have no idea.
Okay, well, my preference, I like a nice clean dry glass, which, believe it or not, is very hard to find. I prefer the old school glasses. We don't get them in the UK. They're very hard to find. So a proper like tulip glass as opposed to those gravity glasses. I have to take what I can get. I also like my Guinness quite warm. That's quite controversial. I don't like it cold. I especially hate it extra cold. But again, you have to take what you can find. So yeah, just got to. My taste buds have got to change depending on the pub. That's the way I go with it. I like a nice creamy head, not too big a head, not too small. Definitely not sour. Definitely not bitter. Just tasting nice.
And what got you into saying, we'll go on Instagram and we'll start rating places, we'll start posting them up?
To be honest, I was sitting in a pub in Glasgow one night called the Thornwood, and I had a pint of Guinness. And I was like, it's not as good as over in Ireland, because I'd just recently been over in Northern Ireland a few years ago. And my partner, Mr. GDG, was like, why don't you just stick it on Instagram, see what people think? And I started it as a laugh. It was literally, I thought, I'll get 20, 30 likes, a couple of followers, probably mostly my family, and that'll be it. I'll forget about it like I do with most things, and it'll lie on my phone for years, and I'll forget even the password. And it's just spiraled out of control sometimes. I think it's all to do with how it's poured, how it's stored. I wouldn't say, like, I've had one at the storehouse. It's not the best one at all.
Yeah, which you would expect. You would expect
to
be the best. Yeah.
It's a mile up the road from where it's made, so you think it's going to be the better one, but it's not. I think it's just to do with the care that's taken and the time it's taken to pour them. Like the storehouse, they churn them out to tourists because that's what they do. And it's not a bad pint, but it's not the best.
Because it's so weird, because even being in Dublin, say, you go to Temple Bar, everyone goes to Temple Bar, it's the place to go, and everyone thinks it's going to be the best pint of Guinness, and it's not.
No, it's really, really not. Absolutely not. Like
have you rated the Temple Bar Guinness?
I didn't go to the Temple Bar. No, it was too busy when I came. I went to one just slightly further up called Banker's Bar, and it's possibly one of the best ones I've ever had. But
because that's the thing, you go to these touristy places and it's not what the real thing is.
No,
and then sometimes you go to a place down the road where it looks like a wee hut and it's good.
That's my favourite kind of pub. Like it's my favourite kind of place to go.
And it seems to be the done thing nowadays for Instagram, because there's a lot of kind of food bloggers out there. There's a lot of people going out and but you have just dedicated it just Guinness. That's all you're gonna do.
Like if you look at my profile, it's just pictures of Guinness all the way down. There's nothing different. Just one single pint of Guinness in every picture.
Yeah.
You look at it and you think, how can you make that into something?
And actually, I mean, you can tell by the pictures sometimes. You can just tell that they look a bit off.
Yeah. Like I can put on something tastes great, but the picture will look awful. So I'm thinking people are going to think I'm lying, or I've been told to say this, or got to try and justify what you're saying.
Have you ever
And
got any replies back?
from a bar,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. I've had a few places that don't appreciate like my feedback. And that's fine. But again, I've got a lot of ones who will. I'll always try and make my review quite positive. I don't review the pubs because the pubs are usually great. But I just
Yeah.
if the pint's not good, I will try and be like the people were nice. I'll try and make it a wee bit more positive because I don't want the bar to lose anything just because I've had a bad pint of Guinness.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of them don't take it the best. But you'll get the
Yeah.
odd one. Though. A bar in Glasgow recently contacted me to say that I'm really sorry I had a bad pint. They got a guy out to check, but their line was broke. The gas was seeping into their kegs. So,
Right.
like it's got a positive spin on it.
Because I guess you can tell if it's been in there a long time.
Yes. Yeah. 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 I recently had one that had been lying for a while and it did not taste good.
Yeah.
Like you could tell it just tasted dusty.
Where is the furthest place that you've been to just do this, to just
Um
drink a pint of Guinness?
to just drink a pint of Guinness. Like I've drunk Guinness all over Europe, but since I've been doing my page, I think the furthest I've went is France. So this year, I am going to branch out a lot further, like a lot further, way over Eastern Europe, depending how far I'm allowed to go. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and take it
Because
from there. See what
I
happens.
was in France 2 weeks ago and I was almost scared to try the Guinness.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not the best at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. I know. Because they do
It's
say
really
it doesn't travel well.
it definitely it doesn't pour well in France. It doesn't do anything in France. I was in Lille, and they just sell Belgian beer. So everything is served with a big, massive head. Even their Guinness is served with a big, massive head. You're like, oh my lord.
Have you ever seen anyone who just pours it straight and doesn't let it
Uh huh.
settle? Just
Yep.
see that would really annoy me.
It goes bubbly, and it's just they don't. You can tell they don't know how to pour it. They're just like,
Mm.
you stand there with this
Yeah.
look of horror on their face, and then they just
Yeah.
shove it at you, and you're like, okay, I'll take the pint I'm served. That's it.
And where has been the worst pint that you've ever had?
The worst pint I've ever had would probably be. Oh, it's a tough choice. In Glasgow, there is one. That there is a really really bad one. It's
Uh,
in the West End of Glasgow, and it's the West End's quite a it's supposed to be the posh part of Glasgow, so you expect a
right.
higher standard. Not high standard whatsoever. It was the worst thing I
Right.
think I've tasted. But probably down in York, I had a really bad one. Served in like a brew York glass. It had lipstick on the glass. Like it was like mouldy on the. It was just disgusting. They didn't take it very well at all.
Because if a Guinness doesn't come in a Guinness glass, like that's just defeats the purpose.
Like they had the glasses.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
you know there's just no care given. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't busy. There was 3 people in the place, so it's not like they were overrun. You can see the if you're
Yeah.
busy, I'm not. That's fine. Like you're there by yourself, that's okay. But if you're just standing there because you can't be bothered, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
And I must say you've got a lot of followers now. Like we're not just talking a few thousand. You've got is it over 20,000?
I think it's 22 and a half. I think that's what it is today. 22 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it has its moments. Like it peaks and then it stops and then it does it again. And you just. Instagram can be very frustrating like that though.
You're kind of just like the director of Guinness. So anyone, if they go into someone place, they'll check Instagram first just to make sure, just to double
I do
check.
it. Like Mr. GDG is always like, oh, just tag the bar you're in, say you're going. And I'm just like, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that. I don't want anyone to
Yeah.
know where I am, who I am. I just want to sit in the corner and drink my pint.
Mhm.
All I want to do.
Like a
But
secret shopper. You don't want them to know.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm
Yeah.
just happy just being me on my own. Um, but he does tend to make me tag the pints. He's just like just do it. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. And most of the time, it is quite fun.
And during lockdowns, of course, so when they were all closed, this new
Yeah.
Guinness Nitro arrived.
Yeah, the nitro surge. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you tried that?
yeah, I've got one. I do have one.
Right.
Um,
And what's your thoughts?
um, it's really good if you practice pouring it. And it
Yeah.
costs obviously the cans cost quite a wee bit more than the normal can, so it can be
Mhm.
an expensive practice and process. I think I went through 3 or 4 cans until I got the pour spot on.
Because I've heard some people say that if you get it right, it can be better than a bar. It can be better that poured, better tasting.
Oh, it can be better than a lot of bars in Scotland, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So where's on your like to-do list?
I'm working, like, I work, full-time in an actual proper job, um,
Yeah.
and I do that 6 days a week until May, and then I'm back to just, I say, a normal full-time hours, 5 days a week, so I'll take some holidays then, and I'm thinking I'm gonna try maybe do some places down south first, but then in the summer, I'm thinking Slovakia, Slovenia, Hungary, Croatia. We usually like to just get a train pass and just train around Europe, and I'm just gonna use that as a Guinness tour.
Because I mean, I have done the Guinness tour a few times, but I actually just sometimes you forget that it actually is worldwide. Like I just forget that
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, you get so many. I think I can't remember how many breweries they have, but they all sell different things. Like the ones in
Hmm.
America are just like, see some of the flavors they have. I'm just like, I need to have these.
If anyone has never tried Guinness before, a lot of people
Hmm.
go for, and I don't know if you've seen this before, a lot of people go for the black currant with the
Yeah,
Guinness.
yeah,
Do you remember your first pint of Guinness?
I do. I do. It was
Do
in
you?
the Oban Inn up in the north of Scotland,
Uh-huh.
um, and it is still one of the best pints that you can have in Scotland. I just remembered the hit of coffee that I got, and I was just like, oh my god. Now you're talking, this was a good, what, 19 years ago, and I still remember my first pint of Guinness.
Yeah. Because it is one of those drinks, because like, when you have different beers, and you just think, oh, it just tastes like beer. But yeah, it
Yeah,
is one of those drinks you will remember. Yeah, yeah. And
I
so
did.
the black currant didn't come in for
No.
you then. You didn't. No.
I've tried it once with blackcurrant. It doesn't taste bad, but I prefer it
Yeah,
without it. It's too sweet. I don't like a sweet drink. So
yeah.
I did a blind taste test as well with Beamish and Murphy's, um, and you can spot
Yes.
Guinness. Really, Guinness will always be my go-to choice. Always.
Because funny you should say that. Last month I tried the Murphys for the first time from the top,
Hmm.
and it is too creamy. It's not a Guinness. It's all these
It's
brands that try
very,
to be Guinness, but it's just
yeah,
not.
it's very, very thick. It is like a pint of
Yeah, yeah,
cream. Beamish, I'm not a fan of. It tastes a bit like potatoes, and I just don't like
yeah.
it.
How are you on the little harp challenge that people do? Where you try
Oh,
to
split the G.
drink it and split the G. Yes, split the G.
I try every time and I fail every time. Every single time. I remember I got
Mhm.
one pint glass and I think the heart was about that size. So you were talking, it was like halfway down the pint. I'm like nearly drowned.
What would be your drink of choice? Would it be a Guinness? Would you go out and just drink a Guinness?
I do have nights out where I just drink Guinness. Yes.
Just drink Guinness.
A lot of Guinness. Yes.
Oh, see,
A
that would.
lot of Guinness.
No, see, I get maybe about 4 or 5 pints of Guinness, and I just can't take anymore.
I think it depends where I go. If I got one of the bars I like in Glasgow,
Hmm.
um, you're talking, I could be there from 7 o'clock at night till it shuts. And I can drink a lot of Guinness. If not, my drink of choice probably be dark rum. I like a dark rum or a whiskey.
Right,
I do
right.
like a whiskey.
Because Guinness is a meal.
It's heavy going.
It's
Heavy going.
heavy. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I have a sandwich before I leave the house. That's about it. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's true. Because and the whole thing. Do you believe that they used to give it out in hospitals and all that? Do you believe that?
I don't believe that. I mean, apparently it's got loads of vitamins and antioxidants and all that stuff in it. But I think it was
Iron and
probably
all
to
that.
shut
Say, yeah.
people up. To be honest, give them a pint of Guinness, nobody's going to complain.
Well, thanks so much for coming on to the podcast. A very weird one, because it's not a thing that you come across very often.
It's not at all. Guinness community, when I started, there was only me and a couple other ones. And
Hmm.
see, now there's a new Guinness account every single day. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see everybody's opinions of different things and how they do things as well.
Well, I mean, definitely continue with the reviews, because we're all watching.
I will do. I will.
Thanks for listening to the podcast, and a big thanks to Sarah as well for coming on. Girl Drinks Guinness is her Instagram profile. Don't forget to subscribe, and please do leave a little rating and a review as well if you can. All of those ratings or the reviews definitely help small podcasts grow a little bit, and it's very much appreciated as well. So if you can do that, please do. Until next time.